Welcome to the Investor Coaching Show, a podcast to help you get an insider's view of the financial world and escape common investment traps. We look at the financial news of the day and help you make sense of it so you can relax about money. And here's your host, Paul Winkler.
All right, I'm back here. Investor Coaching Show, Paul Winkler. Leviticus, tell him it's good to have you back, man. That's good to have. He's like, telling me, slow it down, Paul. Slow it down. It's just one of those days. Just stuff. Yeah, just stuff. Just makes me. No, it's don't feel sorry for me.
I'll be your therapist. Come on.
No, don't feel sorry for me, really. I'm just like going, arr.
No, I love you. Just take a deep breath.
Popeye. Arr. No, there was oh gosh, what on earth was it? Oh, I know what it was. I was going to talk about. So back, oh man, I remember, when Fama and French, all these guys, these academics were talking about markets back in the late 90s. They would do these workshops. There's a guy in West Wellington, I think, used to do this a lot. He would do these great PowerPoints. I mean, PowerPoint was like, it was his deal, and he was phenomenal at them. But he would give actual examples of companies, and he was trying to get us as advisors to not mess over our clients. And he was so great at, educating on this. And because I was sitting there going, you know what? I am so sick of this industry. I could puke. I really was. I was so sick of it. As a matter of fact, I was actually talking to somebody about, bringing on other financial advisors and recruiting, but I'm so scared to recruit from the industry because of the garbage. But, I bet there are a lot of financial advisors that are sick of the industry right now too. So we were playing around with the idea of going, hey, let's start to see if we can see if there are people that can that want to get out of that side of the business. Okay, sounds like I'm doing a commercial already for financial advisors responding, but I think that it is hugely needed. I think there is a huge need for financial advisors to get out of some of the myths and get away from some of the misinformation that their investment firms have been feeding them, the insurance companies, the mutual fund companies. In so many cases, the investment advisory firms. There's so much garbage that I see out there on how, like, for example, being taught about how to manage investment portfolios and what they ought to be looking at, how to benchmark portfolios. And I see incorrect benchmarking of portfolios. I see incorrect diversification. I was talking about that a little bit earlier. The big investment firm, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. And virtually all the money that they're managing in their portfolios, because we just saw a proposal from them, is in big U.S. companies and big international companies. No small cap diversification, value diversification was scant, non-existent. The holding individual companies, holding individual stocks in the name of we're going to set up your own mutual fund for you to reduce costs. No, it actually increases risk. When you do that, you engage in that type of thing, you end up with, and the management fees are so high that they're not saving money at all anyway, but that's another story. But anyway, so, the thing that West Wellington would talk about is, how do you get people away from tech stocks? Because remember, I'm studying under these guys in the late 90s, and how do we get people away from this? And he says, you've got to recognize how stock pricing takes place. The way stocks are actually priced is based on forward projections on what might happen. And when those projections are really lofty, the example that I gave is, let's say on a scale of 10, I think this company has got a future of a 9. And I think things are great. Everything's wonderful. It's going to be the future's so bright we're wearing shades. And then all of a sudden the future comes in at 8.7 or 8.9 or whatever. Then the stock goes down. Why? Because we thought that the future was so bright, we were wearing those shades, and we thought it was going to be a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. Well, it doesn't happen. And the example that he would give was RCA. And the whole idea being that, look, what's the future of this country? Well, I'm on it. Radio. The future is radio. We are going to be able to get information faster than we ever dreamt. We'll be able to listen to music. We don't have to own all of every album out there. And, you had sort of had albums back then. Think of It's a Wonderful Life. They were, when she smashes her little record over the table, by the light of the moon there. We don't have to own everything. I can turn on the radio and I can listen to music. Well, that was a revolutionary idea. I didn't have to go down to the concert hall. I could listen to music in the comfort of my home. I could talk on the phone with somebody. The phone was a different technology. I didn't have to go outside. I didn't have to go talk to the neighbor. I could talk to him on the phone. I could stay in my pajamas. I could talk to somebody across town. So the whole idea of technology was just in its infancy, and a lot of these RCA was on the cutting edge of this stuff. And what happened was this, and this is where I'm coming from, is they have this paragraph in this article on Are We Due for Another Financial Bubble? It says, consider the Radio Corporation of America. In the 1920s, the company led the communications revolution. And you think, where would I want to invest other than a company leading in that area? Now, today, think of AI. Think of computers. Think of computer chips. Think of technology, the rapidity of the ability to increase the speed of chips. Creating radio broadcast networks and working to make radios and phonographs the new hearths of the American home. Its price matched its promise. At first, RCA shares stood at $43 in January of 1926. Then it reached a peak of $568. And Wes used to use this as an example all the time in his workshops. In September of 1929. So it went from $43 to $568. Think about Bitcoin. How do people market Bitcoin to you? Oh, look how much it's gone up. Oh, my goodness. Now, at least this is a company that produces something. Now, when we're looking at Bitcoin or we're looking at gold or looking at something like that, we don't have anything being produced. But think about the push on NVIDIA or other companies like that. They're pioneering a new technology. This is unreal. Well, what happened with RCA? It plummeted by 1932, just a couple years later, to $15. From $568 down to $15. Bam. How many people got nailed in that one? And that is exactly what happens. Where we go through and we're excited, we're like all fired up, and bam, we get excited about technology, we get excited about a company, and it goes up to meteoric levels. And Wes used to say this. This is something that he would talk about. He says, because you might be tempted. You might be tempted thinking, wow, this company has gone down so much in value, it's time to buy. And here I am in the late 1990s, listening to this guy talk, right? And he said, to this day, it still hasn't recovered. To this day, it still hasn't recovered. And I think that is really right on. Recognize that. And he couldn't have been more right. Couldn't have been. And, he didn't necessarily know that tech stocks were going to go down 80%. He didn't know that. But he just knew something weird when he saw it. What a shout out to a guy that was just huge for me in my education process. Fantastic stuff. Hey, this is Paul Winkler. Hope you enjoyed today's edition of the Investor Coaching Show. If you want to learn more about what we do, go to our website, paulwinkler.com. Until next time, I'm Paul Winkler, reminding you that I believe that more educated investors are more confident investors, and confident investors are more successful investors. Have a great one. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Paul Winkler, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.